It's very rare to hear Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas speak from the bench, but the conservative magistrate spoke publicly yesterday in Washington. The Heritage Foundation invited him to celebrate his 25 years on the bench, and he had some very strong words for the current state of our government. He thinks it's broken.
I think that we have become very comfortable with not thinking things through and debating things. I think that we have decided that rather than confront the disagreements and the differences of opinion, we'll just simply annihilate the person who disagrees with me. I don't think that's going to work. At some point, we have got to recognize that we're destroying our institutions and we're undermining our institutions.
I thought that was on target. The justice was responding to a question about the High Court's confirmation process. He didn't mention the stall nomination of Merrick Garland, but Kimberly, you can't help but think about what happened to him 25 years ago that, you know,
of course,
he personally was so vilified.
He really was, and he's proved himself to be a very capable justice, you know, someone who is greatly admired, a good man, a hard worker. We're very lucky to have him. But you saw that. It was just almost just, you know, politics of like personal destruction, trying to ruin a man who has accomplished a great deal, you know, in his life. And so, and he doesn't speak. I mean, you very rarely hear from Justice Thomas, right? So the fact that we're hearing from him is kind of a very unique opportunity to get some insight into a man who's obviously lives a very fascinating life on the bench.
So now, Eric, we come up to a moment where, again, you know, we're stuck. Merrick Garland's there. The question is, what happens, let's say, if you get a liberal like Hillary Clinton in the White House and she nominates a liberal justice? Senator McCain, Senator Cruz, they're saying we won't consider even putting anybody on the bench.
Merrick Garland, prior to her being sworn in.
Yeah.
Maybe they should rethink that if Trump doesn't win the election, because he may be the best choice going forward.
But they just say they wouldn't put anybody.
Well, you know, they can say that now, and they may change their mind.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
the nomination's still there. They can still take it up. Yeah. I would assume. They're probably just saying that, but because they don't want to acknowledge a Hillary Clinton presidency. Let's just, they're probably going forward with, hey, Trump's going to win. But I will tell you, don't leave, Clarence. Please don't retire. Because we are really in trouble if you don't help fix the broken institutions in D.C.
Wow. Dana?
Well, one thing we didn't show, and I don't know if he talked about it, but when Antonin Scalia died, there was reporting about the court and the friendships that are behind the scenes,
right, and
that they all actually really get along, that they have common cause, and that they enjoy each other's intellectual capabilities. And for the writings of Clarence Thomas are amazing. It's good to hear from him, but I would assume Kimberly would agree that from a legal standpoint, he's one of the best writers that we have. And Juan, it was your son, Rafi Williams, who wrote a piece about the new African American Museum that doesn't celebrate him in any way in Washington, D.C., which is a real shame.
Can you do something about that?
I would like to do something about that. I know the people over there, and, you know, I just can't understand it, because one of the arguments I read today was that, oh, well, actually, in the post-civil rights area, he's certainly an important voice of Africa. I think in terms of American history, this is one of the most important African Americans of all. I'm saying this as his friend, so if you want to write me and complain, but that's what I think, and he and I disagree on a whole lot of stuff. Greg?
Well, white liberal guilt turned into open hatred when faced with a black conservative. That's, I mean, Thomas remains proof that the mainstream media, there's only one kind of acceptable black man. It's the black man who agrees with everything in the mainstream media, so that eliminates Justice Thomas. But the one thing he brought up, which is very important, and we talk about it a lot, is this polarization. The unity is dead. I mean, I don't know how we talk about unifying a country. I don't believe it's possible. We have these balkanized buckets of knowledge now on the internet, where if we want to go and find something that agrees with us, we can bypass everybody and go to one website and find that thing that makes us feel comfortable. Everybody does that. People on the left, people on the right, libertarians. We find the comfortable little strain and we stay in it, and we never have to talk to anybody again.
You know, that's
scary.
That's really lamentable. Anyway.